Hi, I'm Josh Lambert, Group Product Manager for Enablement, and I'd like to take you through what we are planning to achieve for the database group in our 13.6 milestone. GitLab 13.6 will be released on November 22nd, and we are working on a few larger items here that I'd love to talk about some more. The first item is that we want to better test in CI our migrations, and not just so that they apply successfully, but also that we can roll them back if we need to. We deploy changes to GitLab.com about once a day at this point in time. We're still working to speed that up, but we need to make sure that if there is a problem with the daemon migration, that we can successfully roll it back. And today, a lot of this testing happens in staging or potentially other places. And so it can be a little more costly to find these problems there than if we could shift these further left and find them during a CI run, for example. So that is the goal of this, which is to ensure that we can roll back migrations if we need to as early as possible in the testing cycle. Along similar lines, we also are working with Postgres AI with their Database Labs EE product to arm our engineers with better tools to be more effective in working with database queries and migrations and other type of content. Postgres AI and their tool allows you to do some thin cloning and also allows you to do some masking and anonymization as well for content so that you can more easily test on production-like content without the challenges that typically go along with that in terms of cost, time to create a copy, as well as, of course, some of the data concerns as well. So we want to go ahead and test this out so that we can give engineers, we'll start with our subset of users who already have access to this content today, but give them a nicer interface to it with a faster thin clone where they can more easily test some of these queries and changes and migrations without worrying about what's going on with a larger database. So that is the first step here. We're pretty excited about it. And again, we want to make sure we can just make our engineers more effective and more efficient in working with this content, and particularly testing this content at scale, essentially at GitLab.com scale, so that we're more confident we'll find any kind of performance problems or scaling problems before it goes into production. So pretty excited about that one. On the topic of performance, we are continuing to work on our efforts to automatically re-index some of the indexes within the GitLab application. Currently, we rely on administrators to run the re-index manually, and this is less than ideal, as you could probably imagine. People forget about it. If you don't read your documentation, you might not be aware you have to go do this. And this is just one example on .com of some of the index flow that you can see building up over time. So the next step that we're taking here in 13.6 is we want to develop a heuristic so that the application can determine which indexes we should attempt to rebuild at any given time, effectively which ones that we have the most opportunity and are worth the time and effort to go ahead and run the rebuild process. So that is what we're working on in 13.6 for this, as we continue to really make this something you don't have to worry about anymore with GitLab, which would be very, very nice. Finally, we are working to hopefully wrap up the overall partitioning project that we've been going on. We have started off with the audit events table, and we built a lot of tooling. We've been working on documentation with the goal of ideally arming the broader community to be able to partition tables on their own without depending upon the database team to go ahead and do this. The audit events table was relatively simple with a relatively known and singular access pattern. We are now moving on to the events table, which is larger, has more complicated access patterns. And effectively, we're using this to ensure that the tools and the documentation and other processes that we have developed continue to work on a more complex table and access pattern process. If we can do this, and of course, we'll update our tables and tools as needed along the way, then I think we feel pretty confident that we can turn partitioning over to the broader GitLab development community and have them be successful in partitioning their own tables as they see fit and as they need to. We'll, of course, be able to help, but again, we don't want to be blockers here for partitioning any table that needs to get partitioned, because over time, hopefully, many of them will, to improve performance. So that is the major items we're working on. If you'd like to join the conversation, please do so. I will include the planning issue you see here, the link to it in the video on YouTube. And so jump in, you can click through, explore the issues, of course. You can see our direction page, the issues we're working on there. And we look forward to talking with you. And if not, we'll talk to you in about a month and tell you what we're working on in 13.7. Thank you so much.